Hello everyone. Wow, what a beautiful overcast grey day I've chosen to film this on. Maybe I'll just turn up the saturation really high, make those greys really pop. No, welcome to this update video and a little Q&A as well, for most of which I'm just going to be sort of moaning and groaning and moaning. The main purpose of this update video really is just for me to apologise. That's right, you've accidentally stumbled onto a YouTube apology video. Hang on. There you go, that sort of set the tone for the video. No, essentially at the start of this year, I made a trailer for the Wii Sports Baseball World Cup Season 2. And at the time, it was the first few days of January, and I sort of thought, I really want to smash it in 2023. So I reckon I could get the first episode of this series out by sort of late February, early March. And now we're in sort of mid-February, and guess what? I haven't even started really. And that's down to a number of reasons really, which I'll explain in this video. I didn't quite expect to have invoked some sort of curse from an evil spirit at the start of 2023. I don't know if during 2022 I just committed a load of bad deeds, got a load of bad karma, a load of bad juju, all stored up. But if I'm completely honest, 2023 for me has started off on a little bit of a stinker. Yeah, it's not been the easiest of starts to the year, to be honest. Just before New Year, my parents went traveling to Antarctica and then South America. Now, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Antarctica is actually a black zone when it comes to Wi-Fi, so they didn't have any signal. And they've been away for about a month and a half, and they won't be back for about another month and a bit. Now, this shouldn't be a problem really. I'm 22 years old. I'm a fully grown adult, and I can usually deal with just sort of living on my own. It's what I do when I'm in York here, and I was supposed to be coming back here to York a lot earlier than I actually have. But a few days before I was planning on travelling up here at the start of January, my cat got very poorly, and the morning I was meant to be travelling up, I phoned the vets and they said, we're going to need her to come in. And they gave me a time slot that was 15 minutes after I called them. So I was like scampering around the house trying to find the cat carrier. And if you've ever taken your pet to the vets, it's not a pleasant experience, to be honest. I'm one of them weird people that like cares way too much about their cat. I very much think of her as a family member, and I love her with all of my heart, which makes sense because I've grown up with her, but she really does mean a lot to me. And so it was a very stressful experience forcing her into a box and then like carrying her in my arms as she was like crying. And she's a very shy cat at the best of times, and I don't think she's been to the vets in about 15 years, so it wasn't a very nice experience watching them like stick needles into her and things. But anyway, they found out she's got hyperthyroidism, which isn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been like kidney disease or something, so I'm glad that it's not that. And so I ended up staying home to just sort of get her accustomed to this new medicine that she's been trying. And hopefully if she takes this medicine for the rest of her life, she'll be okay. She's already put on a load of weight and she seems much happier, so fingers crossed that's got a happy resolution to it. She's very old. I mean, she's 16 years old, which is very old for a cat, so she's had a good run really to not have any problems up to this point. Sorry if I'm shivering, it's really cold. Anyway, so there was that, and I eventually did leave and I came back up to York, but only for a week or so, because then I had to go back on the train to my home to take her to the vets again, because they want you to do several checkups along the way to make sure the medicine isn't having any inverse effects on her. And on this second visit to my home, I turned the oven back on. We've got a very old like gas auger, and I had a gas leak in my house. I had to call the emergency gas people, and they rushed out and they did a load of tests and they found that there was a gas leak, and they switched all of my heating off. So I then had to leave all of the windows and doors open to clear out all of the gas for the next like 3 hours. And it was like maybe 1 degree Celsius at best. So my house was just freezing for the next few days. I was like phoning up a load of grumpy plumbers, trying to get them to come to my house to fix my heating. I spent hours and hours just going around my house like sniffing to see if there was any gas smells in any of the rooms. And then I went to Tesco and bought like a load of blankets and a load of ready meals, like microwave ready meals. It was quite funny when I got to the checkout till, the lady asked me if I was like preparing for the apocalypse or something. So yeah, I lived off microwave meals for a few days, and then things went reasonably smoothly for a while. And I was supposed to be coming back up here to York. That is until I started randomly getting a load of like weird visual distortions in front of my eyes. I don't know if you've ever had floaters before in your eyes, I'm sure you have, they're really common. But I started getting like loads of them all at once, and I started seeing like weird sort of zipping flashing lights, which isn't a great sign usually, so I had to have an emergency appointment at the opticians, and they put this stuff in my eyes that made my eyes like really burn, and my pupils went massive, and I looked like I was having like a drug overdose or something. And they looked right into the back of my eyes, and they didn't find too much, which was good. It was all going fine, but they did find like a little bump at the back of my eyes, which apparently is supposed to be smooth. And so now I've got to go to the hospital to get someone who can look even further back into my eyes to look and check that it's not a sign of retinal detachment, which, as you can imagine, is a little bit anxiety inducing. I don't really want to go blind in one of my eyes, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, I had to rearrange all my trains to get back here, but it was fine. I would just travel back to York in the evening rather than in the morning. If you don't live in the UK at the moment, you might not know, there's been a lot of train strikes. The whole like transport system is just completely messed up because of the government. Those rotters up there in their high chairs. And so my first train was cancelled, and then my second train was cancelled. And then finally I got on a train that was actually running, and I got all the way to Leeds, and then my train was cancelled again. So I was stuck in Leeds at about 10:30 in the evening. Luckily I was able to get on a bus replacement service, which then broke down halfway to York, and I had to wait on a curbside for about an hour for a replacement for the replacement bus to come pick us up. So at that point I definitely felt like some sort of devil was having his way with me, and so I was essentially just sat there on a curbside watching Nintendo Direct on my phone and just crying my eyes out, cursing my luck. And so yeah, I realised none of these things in isolation are like the worst things in the world. I mean, having a poorly cat is not nice, but the other two things are just sort of general life stuff. But the result of this sort of bad run of form is that I'm not a man of great mental fortitude anyway, but I've really taken a downturn, shall we say. And more than just kind of struggling a bit mentally, I've been having like a load of weird physical symptoms as a result of this. So I've been feeling dizzy, I've been having nosebleeds, I've been having headaches and migraines. Oh God, I've had like every ailment under the sun, which I'm sure is mostly sort of stress and anxiety induced. But as you can imagine, when you're getting all these weird symptoms and you're already like prone to being anxious, it's very easy to spiral into this kind of hypochondria. And I've never really had any health anxiety before, so I didn't realize just quite how debilitating it can feel. You know, I was convinced that I've been having this really annoying brain fog as a result of just being stressed, I think. But I've been struggling to sort of come up with words and read and write scripts and things. And I managed to convince myself that I had early onset dementia. I'm 22, there is no way that I have dementia, but just from Googling and going down these rabbit holes, I was absolutely sure it was either that or a brain tumor, which sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of the whole point. It's like you spiral and catastrophize, and I would very much implore anyone who's suffering with health anxiety out there to be as strict with themselves as possible and just stop Googling symptoms, because the only way I found any respite from this over the past couple of months is just not to Google anything health related. So yeah, sorry if that was a little bit too much information. I didn't want to get quite as dark as that. So all this to say, I don't know when the Wii Sports Baseball Season 2 is going to come out. It seems like a very trivial issue, I'm sure, to most people, but to me, it's really important, and I kind of feel like I feel a great guilt that I said I would have it out by a certain time and it won't be, even though it's probably not going to get any views and like 2 people in the world care about it. But I'm still working on it. I've got it planned out. The main problem at the moment is that my laptop is not good enough to record the Wii footage anymore. So all of the baseball footage that I did record came out really laggy, and I just would rather have it, you know, looking smooth and crisp as Wii footage can look. Anyway, Jesus Christ, that's the ramble over. I think just before I get into the Q&A, this year might be more of a sort of transitionary year for this channel, as in, I think I'm just going to experiment around with the type of content that I'm making, mostly just in delving into different and new games, because I've noticed that even with the sports stuff that has historically done the best on my channel, there's definitely been a decline in views in terms of that. And I'm not someone that's very algorithmically clever, as in I don't really know how to chase views on YouTube. I think that's very clear. I just kind of stumble upon something and get lucky. This year might involve a lot of sort of stabbing around in the dark, throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks. But I think that's okay. I've kind of made my peace with that after the first few months just being like not particularly pleasant. Rest assured, I'll still be doing Spore and I'll still be doing Wii Baseball and I'll be following up on Sims and doing Escapists and things like that. I'll still be doing all of the regular stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting now. I'm gonna try and do a bit of the Q&A. Let's see. Why did you start a YouTube channel? The first channel that I subscribed to and that I started like consistently watching was Lewis and Simon of the Yogscast. And just watching those Minecraft videos back in the day, I always wanted to make videos like that. I really enjoy films and just media in general. And YouTube is just kind of the perfect place to exercise that creativity. What do you remember about some of your earliest attempts to create stories and narratives? I've never really thought of myself as being particularly good at telling stories, but it is something that I've definitely got better at. And if you look back at some of the very early Spore videos, you can see I didn't have as concrete idea about the sort of vibe that I wanted to go for, I suppose. I hate the word vibe, but I can't really think of another word for it. You know, I enjoy telling stories that have kind of like a whimsical nature about it. I kind of go for like a children's storyteller type feel. What's your cat's name? My cat is called Sooty. Man, I stand by that she's one of the prettiest cats I've ever seen though. She's very sweet. What's the story behind your channel name? I don't know if I've already said this in a video or not. BogBoy was the name of a Quagsire that I used to have in Pokemon Platinum, and around the time I was creating this channel, I did everything very quickly and I didn't really think about stuff that hard, so I just revisited my Pokemon save at the time and I just decided to go with that. For some reason there's a load of flies that are just attacking me now. Hang on, look, there's horses behind me now. How sick is that? Okay. What is your favorite video you've made? I don't know really. A lot of my videos, I like parts of them and I really don't like parts of them. I think probably one of the videos that means the most to me is my Dragon Quest IX video, just because that was my first video that really did like kind of well. And yeah, although it's like really rough around the edges, I like how it turned out. So a lot of people have been asking something similar to, will you make a Zoo Tycoon 2 video again? Zoo Tycoon 2 is a weird one because you can only get the game on disc. I've got the game on a disc at home, but I can only play it on my home computer because that's all it'll install on. No laptops or anything have disc drives nowadays because discs are just like becoming a thing of the past. And my home computer is essentially dead. Like, that computer is slow as hell. It takes about half an hour to turn on. So for now, I'm unable to record any Zoo Tycoon 2, but that's not to say that I won't ever do it in the future because it's a fun game and it's got a lot of memories attached to it for me. So then a few people have asked how long my videos take to make. I mean, it really depends on the video is the thing. If it's a gaming video, generally it takes a week and a half to 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks if it's a bigger gaming video, and that's about like 5 or 6 hours of work a day for 7 days a week. Do you consume beans? I have in the past. I'm not sure what you want from me with this question. What do you think about mushrooms? My skin in Minecraft actually used to be a mushroom. Genuinely, I would say one of the best mobs. Very underrated. How many instruments can you play? Play is a very strong word, but I used to play the drums up to a certain standard. I was never that great, and I play the piano a little bit, as you might have seen in a few videos. I could probably have a go at the maracas. I've been known to play the triangle in my past. Do you collect anything like figurines or shells? Oh, what do you collect? I actually collect figurines and shells. That's so wholesome. When I was a kid, I used to collect match attacks and Pokemon cards. I don't collect anything these days, really. What are your thoughts on the Tanzanian political system? Thanks for that one, Tyus. That's a very nice question. What's your favorite dessert? Oh, that's a tough one. I would say like all of my favorite foods probably are desserts. I'm a huge fan of cookie dough ice cream. Big fan of custard tarts, honestly. apple pie, apple crumble, any sort of crumble with custard, and you've got me. There are so many answers I could give to that question. That's an incredible question. What was the last anime you watched and would recommend, and maybe why? At the moment I'm watching an anime called Summertime Rendering. It's only on Disney Plus, which is like a really weird one, but it's really, really good. It's sort of a mixture between ReZero, so it has a whole time loop going on, and like Death Note. So yeah, I'm watching that at the moment and I'd recommend it. I also watched Made in Abyss, that's really good. Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 as well. That was amazing. Mob Psycho 100 is probably one of my favorite animes ever, so there you go. We'll end on that, I think. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. My hands are shaking. Sorry about this video. I imagine it's gonna be a giant mess, but I thought I might as well just say something about the Wii Baseball thing rather than nothing. And I also just wanted to give a bit of context as to why videos might have been a bit slower at the start of the year. Just discuss my thoughts and feelings as I'm just gently cascading downwards into a spiral of madness. Thanks very much for sticking with me. I'm going to try my best to keep going. Keep yourselves well. Make sure to wash in the places that you don't usually. It's a good hygiene practice. Yeah, just try and take it easy. Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, bye.